Hi, good morning, first graders. Happy Friday. Okay, I hope you had some fun yesterday out in the snow, and you got to enjoy it. Maybe you made a snowman, maybe had a snowball fight. The snow was pretty heavy and it was really icy, so it was hard to shovel, but I hope you had some fun out there. So, I thought you could kind of read a silly book called More Bears. Yeah, that's just the title. More Bears. Okay, so we've been talking about comparing and contrasting, right? Finding if what is the same and what is different between things. Today, we're just going to go back to a problem and a solution in our story. A problem is what needs to be fixed, right? And the solution is how it is fixed. Now, this one is an interesting story. Again, it's kind of like it's almost like we're in the story, like the author is almost listening to us and we keep screaming more bears. Okay, so if you want to scream with us, you can do that. Okay, so I think we actually as the readers cause the problem. Okay, so it's just called More Bears, and the story is by Ken Nesbitt and illustrated by Troy Cummings. So once upon a time there was a story. It was a lovely story with absolutely no bears in it, not a single bear anywhere. Then one day, more bears. Okay, so you're probably gonna have to say it with me. All right, silly story. Yeah, I know. It's Friday. Okay, so so once upon a time there was a lovely story with absolutely no bears in it, not a single bear anywhere. Then one day, more bears. What? Who said that? The author of the story looked around the room, wondering where those voices had come from. Were those the voices of children shouting? Then he went back to writing. That's you guys. You gotta shout it. As I was saying, this story had absolutely no bears at all. The author was very certain about this. Yeah. More bears! The author tried very, very hard to ignore the children who thought that the story ought to have more bears. Fine. The story had a bear. It was a cute little baby bear strolling through the book looking for more bears. Now, hold on a second. The author of the story knew exactly how many bears it should have, and the author insisted there should only be more bears. Two bears. Two bears. There. Happy now? An adorable, cuddly, wuddly little baby bear named Mr. Fluffy, and his mama bear Stella, who always wore a yellow hat. Now, it happened that Stella and Mr. Fluffy, like all bears, were especially fond of. Don't say it. More bears! Ugh. More bears, of course. The author was just thinking that. The author was thinking that just to keep everyone happy, this story should have a Papa Bear, whose name, by the way, was Captain Picklehead. Picklehead? What? And a bear named Uncle Sheldon, who was bald and loved to play the ukulele. Now, where were we? Oh, yes. Stop that! How many bears do you want this story to have anyway? Do you really want to hear about Bobcat Sam, the bear who rode a pony and an Admiral Haversham, the English dancing bear and Excellent Steve, and a bear who just wanted to surf? You do? Oh, wow. Okay. Well, why didn't you say so? In that case, the author suddenly decided that what this story really needed was he's agreeing with you guys. More bears! Yes. More bears. So the author added Astro Bear, who, by the way, was Bulgarian and always kept a hamster in his pocket just in case. And then the author put in three more bears named Lester, Chester, and Esther and Floyd. Wait, that's four. Oh well, four it is because after all, this story really needed more bears. Oh my goodness, it needed a bear named Lucky Eddie who juggled carrots, and a bear named Elbow who wasn't very smart and always wore his underpants on the outside of his regular pants, and a bear named 123, which even the author thought was a strange name for a bear. And since this probably wasn't enough, the author added even, you guessed it, more bears. The author added six bears on tiny pink bicycles, two bears reading comic books, one bear flying across the page in a cape and a lederhosen, three more bears swinging through trees on vines, a bear in a yellow submarine, several bears making cupcakes, an entire team of firefighting bears running across the page with hoses, ladders, and party balloons. That's a lot of bears. Are we good now? Can we stop shouting more bears? Like, we gotta relax here. There were bears hanging from the top of the page, bears sleeping in the corners, and bears standing on top of the other bears. There were so many bears in the story that they couldn't all fit on the page. That's a lot of bears. It was crowded too, too crowded. So crowded that some bears started pushing other bears off the page and arguing, which made the author grumpy. And when the author gets grumpy, they start rewriting, changing the story. In fact, this author was so grumpy, he told the bears to leave, and they did. After all, this was the author's story. Ooh, so we had a problem at first. We caused the problem. We kept saying, more bears. Yeah, maybe you didn't say it, but that's what they were telling us to say. And it was kind of fixed because the author was like, fine, put more bears in it. Now we got another problem. What's the other problem here? There's too many bears. Now they're arguing and they're fighting and they're pushing and shoving. There's too many bears. We have a bear problem now. So what's the author going to do? He's going to write them out of the story because he has the power to do that. They walked off the page. They rode off the page. They swung, surfed, danced, climbed around, and even somersaulted off the page. Okay, they're all leaving. Problem solved. At last, all the bears were gone, and the author smiled. Finally, the author had a story with no bears in it. A lovely story with not a single bear anywhere, just the way the author wanted it. Because, you see, the author was quite certain that the story should have absolutely more bears. We can kind of predict here. What do you think it should absolutely have? I mean, we said more bears the whole time, but having the bears caused a problem. What do you think they should have? More snowmen? More Boost slushies? What do you think? More chickens! Oh my word. More chickens. No. So I guess, I wonder if there's a story called More Chickens. Hope you like that story. And it was just kind of a silly story, but it was kind of cool that we were in it a little bit, right? And we got to almost talk to the author and be like, we wanted more bears, even if you didn't really want it. It was just kind of funny to go along with it. But we caused the problem with all the bears being there. So the author was like, that's it, writing them out of the story. And what the story needs now is more chickens. I don't know. All right. So when you are reading today, if you're reading at home or you're reading on Raz Kids, try to find a book that is on your level. And maybe you can tell someone what the problem is and the solution, how it's solved. Not every story is going to have a problem and solution. We've talked about this before, but maybe yours does, and you can talk about it with someone. Okay, make sure you check out all the other classrooms with all the other teachers' videos. Have a great day.